Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm so excited. I know I have my guest on, Bethany Leal. She's representing Dr. Therapin. And yeah, I still have to work those like quick links with the intro there. So sorry for the delay. Talk about a technical issue with certain things. But yes, no, I'm really thankful to have you on, Bethany. Thank you so much for taking the time to hop on my humble show. And it's been a while. Folks, if you didn't know, I haven't given up on the Filipino series of Filipino Hustle Fridays. I've just been having trouble with getting a ton of guests lined up in advance. And so that's why I really appreciate Bethany for taking the time to make this happen. I really want to highlight Filipinos, Filipino Americans, Filipino Canadians, and North America especially, just because it's a whole nother set of stories that I just want to bring out to the limelight. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be on Filipino Hustle Fridays and be able to represent Therapin y through here. So thank you so much.
So tell me a little bit about the background of Dr. Therapin and then your involvement as well with that.
Absolutely. So we Dr. Therapin y has been around for 4 years. And since 2019, Dr. Therapin y and the Therapin y community has developed our community to comprise of partner advisors. So that ranges from therapists, community organizers, healers, and mental health enthusiasts. And so you might have seen Dr. Therapin y on Instagram has a lot of great expert advice and talks about a lot of very important topics to the Filipino X community. And so, yeah, 2019 was really developing that community. And then in 2020, we created an online presence through Instagram and grew a following over 10,000. In 2021, we expanded Therapin y through virtual events. And we had like New Year's resolutions events. We had Tumubo, our spring event, and Nihan, our fall event, as well as having national and global partners of healers, workshop presenters, therapists, and community members present. So for those first few years, we really focused on developing that community. I didn't become a part of Therapin y until 2021. But yeah, there was a lot behind the scenes to create this space, which brings us to the launch of our Therapin y directory in 2022, June of 2022. So last year, the directory has been around for a year now. And our goal ultimately as a community, as Therapin y, is to create more access for the Filipino community to be able to feel seen and receive culturally attuned and culturally aware care. So Therapin y is really intends to be a one-stop shop kind of place for your wellness resources, your mental health support, your community building, and we help Filipinos identify and access their unique wellness needs so that you can not just survive but thrive as well. So for practitioners who are out there, we are also dedicated to uplifting our network of practitioners to reach clients and grow their respective practices while connecting back with identity, roots, and culture. And we're really on a mission to strengthen Filipino resiliency through collective care, Kapwa, and liberation, so that we can have self-determination and sustainable well-being. And so I know that was a very long spiel, but that's kind of
No,
like,
it's important. Yeah.
thank you. It's like, it's what we're all about. And we just want to make sure that care and resources are accessible as possible to the community. And we serve like everywhere in the world. So most of our practitioners, our directory right now is based in the United States, namely California. We have a lot of practitioners from California, but we do have California. I love
I'm from
California.
California.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
California is so great. That's where we had our launch event in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was
Awesome.
so
It's probably
exciting.
like, I think, and I keep seeing this, maybe it's just California in general. It has the most Filipinos in North America, from my understanding.
Yes, I have heard that, and I have like been to California for events, and um it's so nice because in different, I find especially like in some parts of Canada and the Midwest and like certain places, there is not a lot of community, and a lot of people in our community kind of join our community or become a part of our community because they are seeking that connection. Um, and so it's really, really great to be able to connect from coast to coast because I'm on the East Coast and you're on the West Coast. So it's
Right. I
super
mean,
cool.
it's the Californians, but I'm now I'm on the East Coast with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm from California, but I moved over to Florida. So now I'm
Oh,
on the East Coast. Yeah.
amazing. Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned you have a network of practitioners, and it looks like you have been a health practitioner and you have a background in communications and film. So what led you to working with Dr. Therapin and just, what's your interest? Obviously, you have an interest in health. So tell me a little bit about your story.
Yeah. Um, thank you. Absolutely. I definitely came to a point in my life. Like I grew up in a Filipino household. So I grew up with my cousins, my lolo, my lola, and sometimes my titos and titas, and of course, like my direct family, my ates, kuyas, my mom, my dad, all under the same roof, and grew up like really immersed in the culture. So I was in banga, tinikling dance, and was all about like we always had Filipino parties. We always sang karaoke together, and we
The best.
always had the best. I definitely miss that and started to really miss that once I started to grow up and we had moved, or I myself had moved from that household with all of my family to rural Canada, where there was no Filipino community at
That's a big
all.
change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I shouldn't say no Filipino community, but we were dispersed, and there were very few and far in between of us. And so I kind of longed for that sense of community. And also being in rural Canada, I felt like I was growing up. I needed to go to university, and I had it in my head instilled, like sort of like the second gen struggle of my elders. They sacrificed so much for me to have a better life, so now I have to achieve. Now I have to go to school, and I have to be the best, and I have to have all these different things under my belt. So I went to university, and I led research teams in university. I was the president of the Community for Asian Pacific Islander Solidarity, and also at the same time was getting all of these holistic health certifications, because despite being a part of all these different things, or like working in all these different things, healthcare was not that accessible in rural Canada, and a lot of the providers that I was seeing did not have a nuanced understanding of my experience as a second-gen immigrant who had this pressure to succeed and make my family proud. And so I was burnt out. I was not being cared for, and I was disconnected from my community, which is the Filipino community. And so I tried to heal myself through all of these certifications of like meditation and nutrition and all of this stuff. And that's kind of how I connected with Therapin y, because I was like, oh, okay, this is a community that looks at like these various different modalities of healing. Maybe I can connect and see if I can connect with community in this way. And it just sprung, the opportunity just sprung from there. I think I mentioned before, I've been a part of the Therapin y community since 2021. So 2 years after they started organizing. And I connected with Dr. Therapin y through like a DM on Instagram and I told her my story and was like, I'm feeling so disconnected right now and I'm trying to heal. I'm trying to share healing. How can I help? How can I be a part of this? And the Therapin y team welcomes me with open arms and really guided me back to my roots, my history, my Kapwa, like the shared being of our community, and showed me that even though I feel so isolated from the community, I'm not alone, because there are spaces like Therapin y where you can be in the Philippines, you can be in California, you can be in Florida or Canada, and because of how widespread the community is, Therapin y is kind of like that one-stop landing point where we all meet.
I
And
love that.
yeah.
And so for anyone who doesn't know Tagalog that well, so kapwa is the literal meaning. Is that what you were explaining what it was?
Yeah, like the
I'm showing my ignorance of Tagalog here.
oh no, I when I moved to rural Canada, I lost like all my Tagalog, all my Ilocano. Now I only understand some words, but we really like Kapwa is one of our values at Therapin y. So that's that sense of like um, shared, yeah, shared being and
Yeah,
yeah, sort of like connectedness. Like we are all connected.
yeah. Wow. And it's really interesting. It's almost like a universal experience because I went through something similar. I mean, obviously, I didn't find Dr. Therapin y yet until recently through social media. I think it was just some very nice, simple posts, reading it. I was like, oh, wow, that resonates with me. And it almost seems like it's something happening in our Filipino community in social media where we're kind of all just connecting through healing.
Yeah,
If you're noticing that with like a lot of influencers on Instagram, Filipino business owners, I'm seeing more content because it's starting to all like mesh and connect, right? So
absolutely.
I would imagine that even because of 2020 and mental health is a major topic in the last couple of years, with all of us going through another layer of healing and you could say post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't know. It's not, I think all of us in some level, but now even at a more unique level as Filipinos and nurses and in the healthcare industry, and that's a whole nother level of healing and mental health struggles. So um, my question is for you all, what is the experience like? Are these like sessions, group sessions? Do you connect people to, therapists within the Filipino community? What is that like?
Yeah, for sure. We try to embody Kapwa through through access. So we put resources out through our website, and we have a directory that has all of the different healers in your area and mental health practitioners. So through our social media, we sort of try to amplify that this directory is out there and to encourage folks who are seeking care to visit the directory and to find someone in their area who can provide them with the care that they need. And um, sometimes it's not just like one practitioner who's the solution. Like sometimes people find talk therapy works really well for them. Sometimes it doesn't. So maybe someone will try to see a healer instead, like an ancestral healer, to really get into the generational trauma and try to heal through that and understand that. And then there's like physical health practitioners, and we have coaches as well, like clarity coaches, life coaches, who use various ways of healing to help support somebody. And I think the great thing about our community is that there's no pressure. Like we host these events called Therapin y Thursdays, where we have like 3-4 practitioners from our directory come on live for an hour and just share their work or share a demo, something they would do with a client during a session. And all of them stress that like this is not something, like if you don't feel aligned with me, you don't have to continue to do the work with me. Whereas I feel like in a lot of like wellness spaces that are, in a lot of wellness spaces that are, if I'm allowed to say, like that have kind of colonized the idea of mental health and wellness, they'll try to sell you like a program for like a quick fix to your problems that will heal your whole life. But the Therapin y directory is so vast, and there are so many different ways of healing and practitioners that you can reach out to on there, that you don't have to just stick with one super expensive program. Like you can experiment with what works for you. A lot of our practitioners, when you email them, they'll give you a free consultation, or they'll share like payment plans. So I'm sorry, that was a super long answer to your question, but we
Oh
just
no,
try to.
those are great. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, we have time, so don't worry. And yeah, that's really neat. It seems like people can go to the website, check the directory, see if there's anybody of interest that might, work, and you can always just try different things, different people, different experiences. So, and it sounds like you're also building a community, and like you said, there is a community. How big is the community right now? I know you said it's global, right?
Yes, global. We have over 100 providers on the directory, in Canada, the United States, Australia, um, in Japan too, I think. So yeah, we're kind of
Wow.
all over.
Wow. So that's great. And so I know the founder in okay, do you like you said when they started, they probably just thought, okay, let's just try this out. And I think social media kind of helped, expand the network. Um, Otherwise it would have been hard to grow that and scale that, right?
Yeah, it's like you said before, where COVID was like a really, really impactful time for the Filipino community. Dr. Therapin and I literally started as like, okay, I'm just going to put what I think out there. And people started really resonating with it. And so from there, this community really grew into something that, like a shared being, because people were relating to those feelings and those thoughts that Dr. Therapin and I was having during lockdown and during such a difficult period in history. And so it's really cool to see how it's grown from that. And the idea behind Therapin and sort of the ambiguity of Therapin is that Dr. Therapin or Therapin is not a single person. It's not just a person. It's not you, it's not me, it's all of us. So anyone can be a Therapin. Yeah.
Yeah, because you mentioned there's life coaches, health coaches, different types of therapists. And so to check out the directory, some people can explore. Do you have is this like a membership too? I know with the website, the directory is accessible, right? So
Yes.
if people want, do they join it as a member as well? Or how do you work it out through booking directly with those practitioners?
Yes. So we kind of have two kinds of members within our community. So there's like people seeking support and then people providing support. And people seeking support are free to use our directory and like scroll through the directory. We also have special filters, like if you're dealing with grief, you can look specifically for practitioners who are dealing with grief. If you're part of the LGBTQ community, you can look particularly for practitioners who specialize in LGBT sensitive care. And yeah, that's free to use for anyone. For providers, and then we have the people seeking or looking to support people who need support, and people who are willing to provide support, and that's where the membership comes in. So people are able to join the directory, and we're not like other directories where you have to have like a certain licensure. We If you're a healer, like an ancestral healer, if you are, say, like a Manghi Hilot, and that was a practice, a healing practice that was passed down to you from your ancestors, then you're more than welcome to become a part of our directory and get listed with our directory. Yeah, so to make that short, for people seeking support, you're free to use our directory to access our resources through our website, therapini.com, or through social media, and inquire with providers to see what works for you. But also for Filipino providers who are out there, you can join our directory through our website and connect with people seeking support. And we also offer, like, for our members, marketing opportunities, networking opportunities, professional development, and we're looking to really give back to providers, because providers give a lot to our community. So if you're a provider out there, we would love to have you on our directory. Just a little shameless self plug.
Oh yeah. That's what this is for, is to highlight that. And you're obviously making a lot of impact with the Filipino community in North America. And it sounds like even it's available to anyone overseas, right? Because you also have practitioners in Australia and Japan. That's amazing. Or most
Absolutely.
of them, they're both in North America, but you also have members in Asia, right?
Yes. Yeah, we have members in Asia. We would love to get some members in Europe as well, because I know there are Filipino providers in Europe and in the different content, like all across the world. So, yeah, we're really looking to grow our reach in that way.
Wow, that's awesome. And it, That's the thing. There's so much opportunity out there. And one of the things, you know, with my other show, JHC and Friends, I primarily highlight those in the Southeast, especially locally here in Florida. With this series being about Filipinos, it's really a global reach because we're everywhere. So
Yeah.
yeah, and even more so, I didn't even notice until more recently because of social media, thanks to social media, that there's a big community in Canada. Like I've had cousins, one in Toronto. I think I've visited Vancouver, Toronto, and I didn't realize like how extensive the community, like how big of a community it was.
Absolutely, and, I think that's something I love about the Filipino community is sometimes you just have to give it a little time, but we find each other, like, in the nooks and crannies of the world in rural communities. Like, after years, I was able to find a community in rural Canada and, um, wherever and it's amazing too how our families spread out throughout the world, and so we get to visit different parts of the world and have family there. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and whenever you go to North Florida, you're always welcome to come and visit. You're always welcome
Thank
here. That's what I love, the hospitality and it's really true that we have such a hospitable community. And more recently, because obviously it's not like big news, but here in Tallahassee, my town now, that my home I like to say hometown is not quite hometown because hometown to me is California, San Francisco, but um like the hospitals here had a major shortage with, you know, nurses, but we have those who are willing to sacrifice and move from the Philippines to come out here because of the opportunities and everything else, and to fill in the major need that we have here. And so, like, at least a thousand or so moved here from the Philippines.
Oh,
And
wow.
like you mentioned, sacrifices that, I mean, we don't understand, at least for me, until we have children, and I do now. I think you look pretty young, though. I don't know. I can't. I'm not gonna make assumptions if you already are in that state. You're still
I
young. You don't have kids, right?
No, no kids.
Okay, I didn't think so. But yeah, no, but you still recognize the sacrifices that your parents made, and yeah, no,
Mhm.
go ahead. Do you have any follow-up on that? It looks like you were gonna say something.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely, like, moving like, I see it with my family members, all the time where, like, they're moving to different places because of shortages and such, and because, there is this sort of, like, push and pull that happens across the diaspora with, um, like, job opportunities, and that's a whole other, like, tangent that I could go on, but as far as, like, um, I see it a lot where people in my family are acting in the best interest of their kids, and even with myself, I don't have children yet, but, um, I find myself, like, heavily influenced by my elders, where, like, sometimes I just wanna drop out of university and never look back and go live in, like, a commune or something, but then my grandparents are like, "But you've already come so far, and it's going to work out, like, you're gonna have a better future. We made sacrifices so that you could have a better future, and so once you finish school, if you have a family, they'll be a little bit better off than you were, hopefully." And so,
Yeah. And
yeah.
you I see, that's the thing. You're so mature that I think that you already finished college. And then of course you mentioned it says in there that you were like you're a student, right? And you're still a student. Okay. What year?
I am in my final year, so I'm
Oh,
doing
it's almost done. Yes, you got it. It's just around the corner. You're gonna finish.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm just pushing on for the next year.
You
But
got it.
yeah,
You got it.
thank you.
And you're doing this, which is amazing. I mean, anyone who, like, that's the thing. Students have their schedule, and then you're also helping with this. You've got, your interest and passion for health and mental health. And so this is to be an ambassador, and it's a lot of work. So, but I think you learned early on, like you said, you had burnout before, but now it seems like you seem so relaxed, so chill. I need that kind of energy.
Honestly, therapy, and this is like I'm not even trying to like plug Therapin at all because like but like kind of also low key, but just like finding
That's
a
what it's for.
therapist in my own experience, like with Therapin only kind of helped me get access to a therapist and to healers and coaches. And like, of course, hosting Therapin Thursdays, I get to like interview therapists and ancestral healers and coaches and get little demos of the work that they do. And just in that, like being a part of the community, just being able to reflect in that way and engage in those like 10-minute little exercises that like heal your inner child. I was like, okay, this actually works. Like I'm a lot more relaxed than I was before, especially with everything that was going on in the world. Like when COVID happened, then there was also like certain events that were happening in the Philippines that were really detrimental to the community, and especially for people who are a part of like activist organizations or who are providers or business owners who are
Mm.
really trying to like there are a lot of things. It's a lot. It's heavy at times, and so like the hustle is real, and sometimes you just need to dedicate like 10 minutes, an hour to um, getting it all out and just getting all of that out of your system and taking care of yourself so that that really helps. Like therapy has changed me as a person. I mean, I'm doing just as much work as I was doing before, but I'm pacing it out and balancing it with self-care thanks to community support.
That's great. That's the other thing, finding balance. And I think that's the thing. Universally, I know Asians are known for overworking and overdoing. And then even more I'm not trying to compare different cultures, but Filipinos we tend to give more than we receive. I could say that. I could speak for myself. I tend to overdo that. And and then it does weigh on us. It puts a toll on us. And then I witnessed it growing up, how my parents worked so hard, also business owners working multiple jobs in the beginning, then running a business, scaling it. And then so yeah, of course there were some other types of things that happened at home, nothing major, nothing, but we have our culture. And it's funny, like Joe Coy is a great I love how he approaches the humor behind that. I like I relate to it. Not my mom didn't cuss as much as Joe Coy's mom. Maybe in Tagalog. Sorry, mom. Uh, but, but you know what I'm saying? Like you can relate to that and you can laugh at it. It's funny now. I don't begrudgingly hold anything against my parents, but like, there's definitely some things growing up that I probably have to heal from, right? And
Absolutely.
so I think a lot of us, Filipino Americans, Canadians, those who generation had to adjust, right?
Absolutely. And you just reminded me of like the most important job of all time that I left out in my list of like the different roles that we take on as Filipinos, and parents are like, I don't know how you guys do it. Like it's just amazing. They're and like are also able to um like take on these different roles in the community as well, in business and in mental health and such, and also parent like new little humans, like the next generation. And so that's something we're also really trying to focus on, is like how can we care for parents and like lighten the load a little bit through community care. Because like I remember, like, at least with my elders, they had to take care of like their immediate family, like us, their kids, their grandkids, but then there's also the pressure to take care of family back home, because now that you're in this uh, like new country and are trying to create a better life, there's this idea that like we're thriving here in North America and there's the pressure to
Yeah.
support family in so many different places. And so I remember that was kind of an expectation, like that was kind of a motivation for me to go to university, because I was always taught that eventually I would have to take on that torch of taking care of everyone back home in the Philippines and then my family here. And I was like, wait, hold on, hold on. So yeah, there really needs to be more care for providers, because a lot of Filipinos are just expected to be providers.
It's true.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so calming talking to you.
Oh, thank you. Same with you.
Really? You think so? Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah, I
hilarious.
feel so
And
comfortable.
oh yeah, no, for you especially. Like the thing people think it's so funny. I guess I contain and hide my internal anxiety well to other people, but because people are like, "You're so calm." I'm like, "Why do you think that internally a lot is going on right now?" In certain scenarios. I'm not talking about now. I'm not like I don't feel stressed out right now or anything. It's just I definitely have a lot of anxiety. I found out recently that, I just have it and somehow I guess I contain it. I might have learned it from my mom. She's a rock. She's amazing. And I'm more emotional than she is. She contains her emotions. She's just more logical. I wish I was more like her. I'm more like my dad. I do love you, Dad.
Oh,
but
I can relate.
like yeah, you can but no, this is awesome. And I yeah, this is all about featuring your team there at Dr. Therapin, and that's why, I'm doing the shameless plugs for you. I'm not an ambassador, but this is really awesome. You guys do really great work and people should try to follow y'all. And I'm really excited to see how you guys develop further and grow this platform. Is there anything you'd like to say one more time before we try to conclude? Because I'd love to give you last parting words and then we can go from there.
Well, I just want to thank you so much again, Julia, for having me on your platform on Filipino Hustle Fridays and giving me an opportunity to represent Therapin and the work that we've been doing. And for folks who are watching, I just want to remind you that whatever you're going through in your life, whatever you're experiencing, is valid, and you don't have to be alone. I know that sounds so cliche, like you don't have to, you're not alone, you're never alone. Sometimes you can feel so alone that it feels kind of phony when people say that. But at Therapin, we do host free accessible spaces for you to connect with people who want to support you, whose life's work is about supporting you and making sure you're getting the care that you need. So every 2 weeks, we host Therapin y Thursdays. This is especially great if maybe you don't have financial access or to maybe connect with like a healthcare provider. Sometimes Therapin y Thursdays is a great place to just unwind and get a sneak peek of support. But otherwise, like, check out our directory, because we have like hundreds of people who are providing support on there, from mental health practitioners to holistic health practitioners and ancestral healers. And we're also having I can't say too much, but sometimes we do little wellness bundle giveaways and community opportunities. So follow us on social media to stay tuned for that. And if you are a provider watching this and you're looking to connect with more Filipinos who are seeking support, feel free to connect with me. My email is bethany@drtherapini.com. You might be in a future Therapin y Thursdays, plugging your practice to the community. And we also are, we try to aim to be as accessible as possible. So our directory listing fee is significantly lower than other directories. And if you need us to work with you, then we can. So if you're a holistic healer, you're a physiotherapist, psychologist, licensed marriage and family therapist, art therapist, like anything you do, if it's with mental health and wellness, we want to represent you. So feel free to reach out.
That's wonderful. I should start to connect you with some other platforms that also spreads the word. There, see my dog. I don't know if you can hear my dog, but there she goes. But yeah, no, this was awesome. I really want to keep in touch, and I'll follow you all. Of course, I'm already doing that, and my team will follow you guys. And we would love to hop on, possibly on a Thursday, just to kind of see what those events are like, and definitely just support y'all when you need. So thanks for hopping on and representing. And Dr. Therapin and I chose a great ambassador with Bethany. And so thanks for taking the time to hop on and tell us a little bit more about you and Therapin and I.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you and this platform. And if you're ever in Canada, if you're ever even like Southeastern Ontario, let me know.
Yeah, I keep seeing so many amazing things coming out of Canada. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if well, it took me a while to get back to California. So we'll see. I'll have to convince my husband. Let's go to Canada. But yeah, thanks, Bethany.
Oh, thank you.
I'll see you on the backstage to chat a little bit more, and I'll just mention to everybody, really, I want to continue to highlight Filipinos. I want to tell your story, so please reach out to us, because we'd love to schedule out more interviews like this, and we actually have several lined up in the next few months, so we'd love to feature y'all more. So thanks again, Bethany, and I'll see you guys on